Hello, everybody out there in video land and podcast land. This is Dave Emmons on The Strange Reality, where I bring you some of the, I guess, very interesting and mysterious guests that have some really not mysterious guests, but mysterious stories to tell. And and they talk about the things they've investigated and the things that they've proven out, and a lot of things that I hear from a lot of scientists. It's kind of like I piece the puzzle together. Each person, I was just talking to my guest prior show, and I'm always asking them questions about why did this happen? Why did that happen? I'm trying to get answers, and everybody that I've had on the show, guests, scientists, and investigators, and writers, and authors, and the person that I'm going to have on today, he's done a little bit of everything. And I looked on the internet, and you can find him everywhere on the internet. He gets into ancient history. He gets into spiritualism. He gets into a little religion and ETs. And I guess, also he gets into this book that he's talked about and he's narrated. And there's another gentleman who wrote the book, Michel Desmarquet, and it's Thiaoouba Prophecy. I think I'm going to mispronounce that. And my guest, he'll straighten me out here, Samuel Chong, and he's also a member of IMEX, CEI, IMEX. Dr. Federico Vidal is the head of that organization. I'm also a member of that organization, and basically that's how Samuel and I met. But it's a great organization because they're trying to open up and get things disclosed and enlighten people and in consciousness. And Samuel Chong has a past in doing the same thing of spreading the word of enlightenment, and also he covers a lot of topics, and that's why it was kind of hard for me to kind of decipher and which way to take Samuel. He sounds like he's very well versed. Samuel Chong is a motivational keynote speaker on wellness, resilience and mindset, leadership and positive change, health and well-being, spirituality and near-death experiences, extraterrestrials, ETs, ancient mysteries, and esoteric knowledge. A lawyer in California and a certified court interpreter and Chinese translator, Samuel Chong visited Michel Desmarquet, the author of Thiaoouba Prophecy, and he'll probably get me straight on that, in 2016 and through 2018, and he was instrumental in arranging for the phenomenon. Well, let's say the Chinese publication, Desmarquet's book, which has been the bestseller in both China and Taiwan, a rare phenomena. He also translated the book 334 Lies, the revelation of H.M. versus Stoll, an autobiography of the High Master of the Chair of the Secret Society that was started in Germany. Today, he dedicates his efforts in promoting the messages of these books in order to give people hope to help promote better world through his scholarship at https www. And this is it's chinasona.org / scholarship period HTML. Graduated from UC Berkeley with a BA in economics and a Universidad Carlos, the third, D. Madrid with a MA in financial analysis, Northwestern California University School of Law with a JD. He currently resides in Los Angeles, California. After butchering a couple of those words, Samuel, could you straighten me out on that one, the university, and also mention the book, and maybe say it properly? It's really a tough word to say. Start telling us about that, Samuel. Samuel Chong.
Yeah, the university is Universidad Carlos III, Carlos III de Madrid. And the name of the book is Thiaoouba Prophecy.
Okay. All right. Got me straight on that. Uh, how did you get involved in starting all this? Did you do this and you learned some of this in college and you thought, okay, I'm going to find out more about this stuff? Or did you learn it as a young child and you've had some experiences, Samuel? Could you tell us about how you got started?
I have no experience at all, no encounters with the ETs. But my curiosity was pretty strong when I was a child. I learned about the ETs from reports that I got in China talking about some of the people, engineers or physicists, who was taken by the ETs to their spacecraft, and they were told a lot of the knowledge about physics, and also some of the other things. I thought if the ETs can come and visit us, they must have advanced knowledge and technologies, and we can just learn from them to cut the corners and to progress at a much faster pace. So in my subconscious mind, I was always looking for books written by ET connectees.
Hmm. A lot of people would, no doubt, their first thoughts are, how does China believe in UFOs, and do they have UFOs and report them, and any other Asian country that maybe we don't hear from much? Can you tell us a little bit about China, Samuel?
China used to be very open to this kind of news, and people believed in ETs and UFOs. Actually, in Chinese history, we learned about how the world was created and all the different fairy tales as well of people having supernatural, super psychic abilities, like Journey to the West, and also some of the other stories that people in the Western world don't necessarily know.
Hmm.
So people used to believe in the ETs and UFOs, but nowadays the government has become more strict in controlling the information. So a lot of people tend to believe in what the textbooks say, no longer believe in the realities that we all know about.
Yeah, I they have a couple of pyramids that are dirt covered. I guess rock and dirt covered, and China stopped all excavation of that, and they let their government or the military be in charge of digging that ruin out. There's also, they found a lot of mercury at the bottom of these pyramids, or whatever, and then statuettes of military soldiers in these burial places. But they also found these little discs. I forget what they call those little discs they found in a cave, and they said that they're from ETs from thousands of years ago. We get some of those stories that come out to us, but we haven't been hearing anything much lately. We get pictures of UFOs in the sky over the airport over in the Beijing, but we don't hear much. But what is the latest out of China, Samuel?
I mean, the Chinese government certainly has the same program as the US government does, these special access programs, but they're better at keeping the secret than some of the people here. I mean, people here are altruistic. They are courageous enough to speak out, but people in China, they tend to worry more about their families, so they don't speak out. So this is a difference, but I do think that we should focus attention on some of the important messages conveyed by the ETs who have been visiting us throughout history, as recorded by ancient scriptures. We also need to realize that there are ancient civilizations that flourished in the past. Perhaps the pyramid and the megalithic structures in Latin America and parts of Asia, and also some of the stones you mentioned in China, are probably from those ancient civilizations that used to exist on Earth, but not anymore. So I think we need to be open-minded on those.
Yeah, yeah, there's, we were speaking before the show in South America, Central America, Mexico. There's a lot of sightings down there, and a lot of people, I guess it happens in some of the rural areas down there. They see a lot of different UFOs. That's where the Buga sphere, that's where that come from. Buga, I guess, one of the Central American nations down there. That's one of their cities where this was found. That's an interesting object. I guess New Mexico has it, and they're going through the experiments on it. They found out that it's 12,600 years old, somewhere in there. So it's very interesting. Now, the Thiaoouba Prophecy, the Golden Planet abduction to the ninth planet. Now, Samuel, what do you mean by the ninth planet? Could you tell us about that?
Well, in the universe, there are different categories of planets. We people on Earth are living on category one planet, like elementary school, learning the basics. But there are higher level or categories of planets, like category nine, where the ETs from Thiaoouba come from. And we need to realize there are different kinds of ETs. Some are very, very advanced, such as the ones who came from Thiaoouba, and some are not very advanced, such as the ones whose spacecraft crashed on Earth, such as the ones that people have been paying attention to. through reverse engineering about the crashed UFO UAP retrievals. We need to realize the ones that crashed on Earth indicate that their technologies are not that advanced because their spacecraft crashed. And they are the ones in which the Chinese public, I mean, not the government, but the Chinese public has been paying attention and learning from, the ones from Thiaoouba, whose spacecraft did not and will never crash on Earth because their technologies are so far more advanced than the Greys.
Hmm. Yeah, this Thiaoouba prophecy it's very interesting, and it's a material technology. Let me read this. Without spiritual knowledge, is leading us to a global catastrophe on Earth. Technology should assist in all spiritual development and not be used as it is used now to confirm and enslave people within the monetary system and materialistic world, which are both temporary anyway. That's a good statement there. We do need to straighten that out to have peace. No matter how much we defend our current beliefs, doctrines, and traditions, nothing can change the truth and the order established in the universe, believing it not enough. Uh, could you explain? I guess what I just read off there, and could you kind of explain from your heart what that means about peace and how people can have this? I guess the ETs are looking for us to have the consciousness and peace in order to come down here and relate with us and work with us. Could you tell us how you feel about that statement you just wrote there, Samuel?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the ETs, they're highly advanced, not just technologically, but also spiritually. When they look out, when they look at us, they're just looking, or similar to looking at a group of gorillas or savages fighting amongst themselves, because we have a lot of wars here on Earth. We don't know how to behave civilly or
Right.
in a civilized manner. So in essence, our technology is actually restraining us to to a certain more materialistic world. So this is like the book was written actually in 1989, got it published in 1993, way before the advent of the internet in Australia, where the author lived in Cairns, Queensland, Australia. And he did not even know how to type on computer, but he wrote about the dangers of technology. And I think nowadays, as you see, people are relying more and more on the internet and also AI, kind of leading us to a more kind of disconnected world. So I think if we realize that everything that the creator created uh, is connected to each other, and we are connected to each other, people on Earth are connected, and also the ETs are connected, we are going to realize that we should really focus more on what the spiritual masters taught us, which is to love one another.
Mm-hmm. Uh, the purpose of the universe and our life on Earth is to love one another. Is that right, Samuel?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That.
also to learn spiritual lessons.
Hmm. And you talked about the ETs being spiritual. What do they? Do you know? Have you found out anything about from this one fellow that you talked to, uh, Desmarquet? And did you hear anything about what kind of spiritualism the ETs have and who they believe in, Samuel?
Um, in the book, it details about the creation of the universe and how the different religions came about on Earth. For example, it talks about the Big Bang theory, which is largely correct. In the very beginning, the universe was actually created by a spirit, the creator, or some people would call it the great ether. And when it created everything, it inserted a tiny portion of itself to each one of our astral bodies. So our human beings and ETs all are part of the creator, and the creator is part of us. So the creator created the stars, the planets, animals, plants, and human beings and ETs as well. So we experience everything, and we send our feedback to the creator through our higher self. So the creator actually experiences everything we experience. We learn spiritual lessons, and our souls or spirits get purified so that we can move up the ladder. So this is actually the essence of life. And the ETs also believe in this as well. And the religions serve their own purpose, especially the organized religions on earth. When Jesus or Christ came to us, he didn't really mean to establish a religion. If you read what he said in the Bible, he was meant to teach people about spirituality, about love one another, and the fact that there is life after death. This is why he died on the cross and then resurrected, just to give people hope that there's life after death and there's reincarnation. But you see what religions did is that the Christian religion removed the concept of reincarnation. The concept of reincarnation is actually very is a very common concept or idea for the Chinese and the Indians. I went to India and I love the people there, and they do believe in reincarnation. There are specific verifiable facts and evidence about reincarnation, in which Dr. Ian Stevenson did extensive research on and published peer-reviewed papers on credible journals, academic journals. So if you read into the book, you're going to realize that we should be spiritual but not religious. Actually, organized religions is actually number 4 danger on earth. Number 1 being money. Number 2, politics or politicians. Number 3, journalists and drugs. Number 4, religions. So this is what the ETs have been telling us. Actually, they have been involved in our past, kind of giving us nudges to live more spiritually.
They're talking about this 3-eye atlas coming towards us, and some of them are saying it's 50-50 that it could be extraterrestrial related, some kind of technology. And then they're fearful that they're coming here to destroy all of us. And I've had people tell me on different shows, and different people have come across and said, well, the ETs are going to destroy us if we attract them here. And if we attract them here, I mean, they've been here for thousands and thousands of years. I mean, they actually started our civilizations in a lot of ways. If they were going to destroy us, don't you believe, Samuel, that they would have done it by now? We have nothing to worry about 3-eye atlas.
I totally agree. And actually, if you look at a group of savages like people on Earth, would you really want to like claim that just we are going to make peace of everyone? You're going to let them to sort things themselves first. And you are definitely not going to destroy them because you are actually their mentors, just like college professors and speaking to a group of elementary school students who are fighting among themselves. You wouldn't really just kill the elementary school students or take their resources away. You're going to guide them. This is actually the attitude of the ETs to us. And some of their deeds and interactions and interventions are recorded in the ancient scriptures in the Bible.
What now? I know I have a lot of experiencers that come on my show, and a lot of experiencers will make comments and ask questions also. And I guess a lot of them say sometimes they're fearful when they have these abduction processes, experiences, events going on, and some of them say they have a spiritual. I've always thought of a spiritual feeling after some kind of a event, ET event. Except for the last one, I was a little scared. I don't know what happened there, but people want to know, why are they abducting us? Why are they testing us, Samuel? If they know that if they're good and spiritual ETs, benevolent, they wouldn't do any harm to us. And why are they taking us and checking our blood and our frequencies, Samuel?
So there are different kinds of ETs. The Greys also come from a category 1 planet, and they did put some implants to some of us, but they cause no harm. The ones who have fearful experiences or encounters or were harmed by the ETs are probably harmed by the the artificial or man-made spacecraft pretending to be the ETs. Because according to some insiders and whistleblowers in the US, the military or maybe some of the defense companies have this kind of technology to simulate or imitate what the ETs can do. but they normally cause harm like radiation or physical pains. The real ETs will not do that. For example, when Michel Desmarquet entered into their spacecraft, they disinfected him, but using yellow light and blue light, non-invasive methods to disinfect him. So the real ETs will not cause any harm because this is actually a universal law that cause no harm. Just like what the doctor's oath is, like before they become doctors, they have to swear they cause no harm to their patients,
Mhm.
or maybe just to balance the. Yeah, so I think it's important to realize there are different kinds of ETs, and also there are man-made vehicles to simulate to cause people to believe that they're the ETs.
Right, like our secret space program, and also MIT military industrial MIC military industrial complex. They have a lot of this technology that they reverse engineered from the ETs themselves, and they're doing it. You mentioned implants. What do you think the implants are for, Samuel?
So this is something not written in the book, Thiaoouba Prophecy. According to what the author learned from the ETs from Thiaoouba, the implants are just to monitor us to see how we respond to our increasingly decreased immune system, because we have been losing our immune system since 1948. And the ETs from the Greys have the same problem. So they're a dying species. They want to see how we do it so that they can learn from us because they have been losing their immune system over time as well. So the Greys are actually the lower level of ETs who are not very advanced. So we have been learning from the technologies from the Greys, not very good, not very advanced ETs. I think we should learn from the masters, learn from graduates or professors from Harvard or Yale, not from another elementary school student.
Now they say there's I guess bad ETs, and the bad ETs I've heard are the mantis ETs and the reptilians. Have you heard that also, Samuel?
I think I've heard of that, and I think the reptilians' image of being bad is actually mainly from one person, David Icke, I think, and all the other sources come from him, and he actually got the information from African chief. Um, uh, and I think the chief was under a hallucination because he used a lot of drugs. I wouldn't say that the reptilians are necessarily bad ETs, and there are probably going to be some kind of reptilian ETs, but whether they're good or bad, it deserves special investigation. I don't think the a lot of the wars or some of the bad things that happen on Earth are due to the ETs or the actions of the ETs. I think those are due to our free will. Human beings on Earth are actually they do have free will when God created us. So the Bible actually uses a very good story, a parable, to illustrate the idea of free will. When you are told not to eat an apple of a tree, but you still do that, you're exercising your free will and you have to face the consequences. I think the Bible was trying to convey this message to the people in the past
Mm-hmm.
who are just like cavemen. And if we want to explain like a concept of the dangers of the atomic bomb to a caveman, we have to use a lot of illustrations or parables. We wouldn't really explain what radiation is, and we wouldn't really tell him about the atomic explosion and the chain reactions of atoms. We would say that there's a huge bomb or maybe explosion, fireball, and you have to get away as far as possible. Similarly, in order to explain the concept of free will, I think the Bible used the story of Apple, and and I think we need to realize that a lot of the things that we did are due to our free will.
I keep going back, and I use this word quite a bit myself. And when I talk about spiritualism, I know we did mention it here a while back, but I want to bring it back up and talk about it just briefly. Reincarnation. What does that actually mean? And who I thought here's what they say. They say if you don't get it right the first time here on Earth, the love, kindness thing, and helping one another, then you get reincarnated until you learn what love is all about. Is that true, Samuel? That's what reincarnation is all about.
In a sense, it's true. What happens is that after one person dies, for example, after I die, my astral body will leave my physical body. And then I'm going to go through this life review process, a review process in which I will be able to see, hear, and experience everything I did in my lifetime and how others felt as well. If I hit a person, the pain and the suffering of that person will be felt by me during this life review process. So I'm going to experience everything I did and evaluate myself, how I did in my lifetime. And then because we are part of the creator and the creator is part of us, so this is also similar in the sense evaluation process or judgment by the creator or God. And then we are going to realize what we did correctly or incorrectly. I'm going to decide what kind of spiritual lessons to learn in my next lifetime. For example, I may want to try out to become the person I hit, to feel the pains and suffering of that person in my next lifetime. And then the choices are going to be presented to us. We decide which families to be born into. And once we decide that, all the memories are going to be erased. Some of the children still remember their past lives. That means some of the memories are kept for a short period of time. And then, so our astral body goes into the embryo, and then the heart starts to beat. So this is the cycle of birth, death, and reincarnation. So we go through the different cycles until we purify our spirit or souls, go through the different levels of filters until we reach the source, the creator.
Now, you mentioned earlier about the extraterrestrials being spiritual. And I've always heard, well, they will mess with our bodies, our physical bodies, but they can't mess with our souls. Our souls belong to the Creator, the divine. And are you saying that the ETs or extraterrestrials, they have a soul also, Samuel?
They're also created by the creator. They're also created by God. So some of the ETs are more advanced, uh, having more psychic abilities. Some of them are just like us, like the grace.
Mm-hmm. That's that's the first time I've been talking about them. The first time I've heard that they talk about extraterrestrials having souls and they're spiritual. That's good. That's good to hear. Really, it is because I've had my events, and also I know a lot of other people have too. But they have no fear. They're not going to destroy us. Even the reptilians are probably not going to be here. I There's extraterrestrial bases here on Earth right now, and there's also under the water bases. Do you agree, Samuel? Have you heard that?
Yes, I tend to agree, but I do want to tell everyone is that those who are underwater or who live here are probably not the ones that are very advanced comparably. If you really compare different kinds of ETs, the real advanced ones they don't show up unless they have to.
Mm. So the real advanced ones, they come through the portals and wormholes to visit us every once in a while and check on us.
Yes.
And
And we don't, if you look at the book of Enoch, actually Enoch was taken
mhm,
by one of the more advanced ones.
yes,
So you can get the idea who they are.
yeah. Now the extraterrestrials that live here, underground or under the sea, what are they doing here, Samuel? What is their end game being here with us?
No, for me, I tend to really focus on the masters. If I want to learn how to invest, I would learn from Warren Buffett. I would learn from some of the most famous investment gurus or masters, like Ray Dalio or people like those. If I want to become a very good physicist, I would learn from Albert Einstein or some of the famous modern physicists. I tend to learn from the best. So if I think that the people who are living underwater and those are not the best, then I wouldn't really focus my attention on those. Um, they are probably just going. They are probably monitoring our activities and just to see how we do, but they are not going to really intervene because by universal law, they are not supposed to unless it is their role to intervene to help us grow spiritually. They never serve the meal on a plate because if you are a good father trying to teach your son a mathematical problem, how to solve it, you wouldn't just give the answers directly to your son because that's not the right way to learn. And the son wouldn't learn if he just know the answer. You would guide him and to explain to him the basic principles of how to solving that problem. And then your son will be able to learn that. So this is a way to learn, and this is how the ETs have been guiding us. They don't really want to just stop a nuclear war for us because if they keep doing that, we will never learn.
Yeah. You wrote here, here's a comment I'll read. You're just talking about it now. Maybe we can gain some more insight into this. ET contact, advanced ETs contacted, watched over, and warned us in the ancient past, i.e., Exodus, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, legends of gods and goddesses in Chinese and Indian culture. They are beautiful, Nordic, and forever young looking and never age. Their planet is a paradise to people on Earth. Now, I've always connected Sodom and Gomorrah to the story of ETs. Samuel, is that what the angels that went there to warn them about this, Samuel?
Yes, because the people really behaved in a very bad manner. I would say that they punished the people who were compassionate, who were helping the poor. I mean, the people in the two cities were so evil. They're just like cancers or malignant tumors.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to be removed surgically. Otherwise, they're going to spread to the rest of the body. So this is what the ETs did. They destroyed the two cities just to prevent the cancer from spreading.
Okay, yeah, that I got into. I guess I visited every church there is, but I've been finding out that spiritualism, just like you mentioned earlier, that's the true nature of all of us. I mean, the soul that gets in that. You have a comment here. The author of the book confined the existence of the gray aliens whose spacecraft were retrieved in U.S. by the U.S. military, confirmed by David Grush. There are at least 147 species of different ETs in our Milky Way galaxy. I heard 82 and then 120, and the number, I guess, it's about 147. It sounded like to me it's about the most. But David Grush and the whistleblowers, what do you feel about those people, Samuel? Are they telling us the truth?
They're definitely telling the truth and they're courageous. I really encourage them to do more. The public has been really in deep sleep over the last few decades, not really realizing that there are other sentient beings or non-human intelligent beings in the universe. Because they're being brainwashed by the establishment, the textbooks. People tell them that we're evolved from apes or gorillas. They believed it. When in fact, astronomers agree that or geologists agree that a planet has its own lifetime. It doesn't really last forever. So we originally all came from different planets. We have to migrate from planet to planet in order to survive because a planet has its end day. And I think David Grush is a very good person, and those people are very good at opening people's eyes and to make people think outside of the box, the other possibilities. But there are still people who don't believe the testimonies of David Grush and Carnell and Colonel Carnell and other people. Like I think a lot of people mentioned the name Mick West. I don't know who he is, but he is definitely someone that a lot of people don't like. I don't.
Now, we get into this religion implications with a disclosure. and the God, the Creator, Jesus Christ, Buddha, Buddha, and the kingdom of God is within us, within you, as we as creators and the Creator should look inside for answers. What do you think that? What do you think disclosure? Why we just talked about Grush? Why you think this disclosure is being pushed back all the time, Samuel? Is it because of religion?
Part of it, and more importantly, is because of I think economic issues. Because once you have the disclosure, a lot of industries are going to be disrupted. For example, the energy industry and the pharmaceutical industry and religious establishments, and they're going to be disrupted. So I think it's because of the special interest groups that are keeping the secrets that people don't realize that there are ETs or technologies from the ETs that can benefit them.
You know, ET technologies and psychic abilities. That's going and anti gravity machines, anti-matter guns in space travel, levitation, telepathy, and projecting images. I guess we're doing that now with Project Bluebeam, projecting images and a false flag. Since we're talking about disclosure, is there a danger of a false flag or some kind of a projection of images that would cause us all fear, Samuel?
There's definitely a danger. I mean, if I am a major shareholder of a defense company, whether it's American defense company or Chinese defense company or Russian one, it really doesn't matter. I would want to create this kind of imaginary enemy to get more funding from the government. It really doesn't matter if it's a British or French or Australian. I mean, you would just want to get more money to be more materialistic to benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
So they would definitely want to create this kind of false flag operation and just to really create conflicts in the world so that it can benefit from those events or wars or yeah, people need to realize that is and I think a lot of wars and divisions in the world are caused by the families or special interest groups that can benefit from the wars or conflicts. A lot of them use the Jewish people as a scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people use, I mean, different sides to really cause conflicts. For example, there's another book that when you read my bio, you read the other book, 334 per thousand lies. That's actually a book written by the highest degree chair of a secret society that was founded in Germany. It actually details how their secret society worked by creating conflicts in the world, divisions and wars. And their motto is to divide and conquer, divide and rule. And they really want to control the entire world. And they have psychic abilities. They are able to see the past and predict the probabilities of the future using a specific form of astrology and numerology. And they are able to see the auras of people and to immediately tell what kind of person that person is. They're able to use mind control to control the actions of political leaders. They're able to use social engineering to induce them to take certain actions. So I think wars are really not necessary for the most part. They're actually created throughout history to benefit the few.
Can I ask you? I don't know if you want to answer this, but the secret knowledge of the lodge. Are we talking about the Illuminati?
Uh, the Illuminati is one of the secret societies, but this book really does not talk about directly the Illuminati. It talks about a secret society that is more dangerous than the Illuminati, more powerful, because members of this lodge, which is unnamed in the book, have super psychic abilities, and they're able to influence a lot of the events in the world.
This group, could they are they made up of ET hybrids, or or what to get their knowledge? Where do they get all their knowledge and experience from? I know you talk about the ancient cultures, Lemurians and Atlanteans. Uh, where do they get all this knowledge? These secret lodges, Samuel. How did they get a start?
The short answer is they get the knowledge from ancient civilizations that used to exist on Earth. People had far more advanced technologies than nowadays. They had the knowledge to practice psychic feats or abilities. And if you read that book, which I don't suggest you to read it, I don't recommend anyone to read that book because it's very disturbing. But if you do read it, if you read it, you're going to realize that they keep talking about a library of records, library of books from the ancient past, in which they get their information from. So that's the short answer.
Yeah, so 334% lies, the revelation of HM versus Stull. Uh, what was this revelation of HM versus Stull? Just explain that maybe for Samuel.
He was a regular German college student who got lured into this kind of secret society or organization, and he finally became the highest degree chair. And the author's name is a pseudonym. In German, that means highest degree chair. Um, but I got Actually, I met the copyright holder, which is not the author, and learned about the real name of the author. And I searched online all the different search engines: Google, Yahoo, Bing, Russian search engine Yandex, Chinese search engine Baidu, and I couldn't find a single result from the name that I typed into. So that person is very secretive. Is he? I don't. Yeah, it's very disturbing how he came to power and the things he did. But really, finally, he realized everything is about love, about spirituality. So this is why he decided to reveal the secrets of the secret society, so the public will know how to respond to certain events.
Yeah, I, in modern language, we talk of deep state and the shadow government. Are these the people that are actually controlling our governments, or are the politicians just puppets? Are they Samuel?
So from what I learned, but not from that book, is that this group of the people in the secret societies, they control the families who are super wealthy.
Oh,
Like they are the shareholders of the International Bank of Settlements or the Fed, and those people control directly or indirectly the deep state, the people who don't come and go every 4 or 8 years. And the deep state controls the politicians in the government. So I think it goes through different layers. And if you really peel the onion and to the core, you're going to find members of the secret societies at work.
yeah. I they talk about the 13 richest families, the king and queen of England, the pope, and there's three popes. There's the gray pope, there's the black pope, and then there's the regular pope that we see in person in public. Is that true also, Samuel?
The According to the ETs from Thiaoouba, there are 12 families
Okay.
that control everything, and certainly the Catholic Church is one of them.
Okay. Yeah, that's a scary thought in itself. But you know, it's and we go back to this, I guess, idea of ancient civilizations, Atlantis, Lemuria, and the civilization flourished. Money did not exist in their world, and the continents sank into the ocean uh, almost overnight. Were they destroyed, Samuel? Atlantis and Lemuria, were they destroyed because of their technology?
I'm not sure about Atlantis, but Lemuria uh, was uh, was due to an earthquake, a natural disaster,
Mm-hmm.
in which the author described what really happened, uh, because the ETs took him to the past, and he witnessed how the earthquake destructed the entire continent almost overnight. I also want to kind of explain a little bit how the secret societies work. They obtain the knowledge, for example, from Atlantis or Lemuria, and they misuse the knowledge so that they create the divisions in the world. For example, they supported the KKK. At the same time, they also supported anti-racism movement in the U.S. in the past. So this is how they cause divisions and wars. And yes, indeed, in ancient civilizations, people used the knowledge correctly and in the right way, in the sense that they were able to build the pyramids or the statues on Easter Island, and they did not have money on Lemuria. People just took whatever they needed from the marketplace because no one took advantage of each other. So this is how they lived. They used a specific sound or music to celebrate when their king died or passed, because they knew about reincarnation. They knew that the king accomplished everything he was supposed to accomplish in his lifetime, and then he was going to be elevated when he began his new journey in his new reincarnation. So this is why they celebrated at the death of the king. They didn't really mourn because they knew about reincarnation, they knew about life after death and also the cycles of life. So this is a very good lesson for a lot of people. If you know someone who did great things in his or her life, when that person passes, you should celebrate because that person is going to live on a better planet
Yeah.
than Earth.
That's what they do in New Orleans. They have these wakes where they have music going down the street and they have jazz music playing and they celebrate the death. That is true. A lot of cultures are into that. Uh, the Here's the practical implications. Real dangers on Earth. You said money. We talked about this before. Politicians, journalists, and drugs, religions, and the importance of the collective actions, the power of inertia, and non, I guess, non,
Nonviolent resistance.
yeah, I can't read that word because it's dark. My lighting's not good. But yeah, it's resistance to rise up. Why are all these? I guess we see it today. I guess we see misinformation, disinformation from the news media. We see politicians lying and being corrupt. Is this the type of thing you're referring to in this statement that the world has to be watchful of? These are the dangers for us, Samuel.
Yes, the politicians really want power and fame, and also more power and more fame. And if you really want to elect a good politician, give him or her no money, no salary, and to see if that person still wants to do it. So this is actually one of the better ways to really select or elect someone. And this is actually, I think this applies to all the countries in the world. It's just politicians are not as good as the ones in Lemuria, because in Lemuria they took no money and they worked really for the best interests of the people. But here, if you look at some of the other states, like the governors and the people, and they really want something else, not for the best interests of the people.
Yeah, and we also talked about the military industrial complex, and you have a statement here: U.S. military, uh, projects are revealed by the ETs. Time machine development, Project Westford. Could you tell us a little bit about that, Samuel?
Do we have another hour?
Well, yeah, we you got so much. I mean, I looked, there's a lot of guests, but you have a lot going on here, and I got these pages, and I'm trying to go back to and look at the subject and the topics that people want to know about. And but yeah, you can sum it up real quick if you could, and then we can move on to something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the best way is to actually read a book because a book only has about 170 pages or so. But it actually points out all the important uh, issues or topics that you might find interesting in. For example, time machine. Yes, indeed, there's an akashic record, some people would call, because whenever a planet is born, there's a psychosphere or like a cocoon
Mm-hmm.
that rotates at 7 times the speed of light, recording everything that happens on the planet. So if you can match the vibrational frequency of the cocoon or the psychosphere, you can really access the Akashic record and to go to the past. I think this is what Nostradamus did. And so you can also use the same principle to develop a time machine. If you know about the Philadelphia experiment, they try to cloak the ships by projecting certain wavelengths of energy to prevent the radars from detecting the ships, but it caused a distortion of time and space. But the ETs are saying that if you focus more on the vibrational frequencies rather than wavelengths, you can actually develop successfully a time machine. But having said that, a lot of people would ask, oh, can we go to the past and change the events that happened in the past and change the course of the future or history? Well, the answer is no, because when you go to the past, you're going to see everything holographically as an observer. You can see everything that happened, but you cannot change everything because you're just like watching a film, but it's a holographic film.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot change anything the film or the movie shows, but you can see what happened, how everyone felt. So this is the concept of time machine. You can also see the probabilities of the future, not the exact future, because the future really depends on our actions. But you can see the probabilities of the future. um, so the book talks about that, and
Now,
Project West, yeah.
is the subject or the person who's goes back in time? Do people notice them at all?
They don't. They don't.
Notice.
It's just like the players, the actors in a film
Mm-hmm.
do not realize that we are watching them
Right.
because it's a recording.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chronographic, I think they call it. It's a
Yes.
black and white
Yeah.
film. Yeah, you talk about, I guess the author was abducted by benevolent ETs and was informed of the history of the earth, ancient civilizations with ET visits, facts about reincarnation and afterlife, the construction of the and purposes of the Great Pyramid, and all these other statues, Bermuda Triangle and human energy, fields. Now this person that that was abducted, this Desmarquet. He did you have a chance to talk to him in person and relate with him? I guess you did do some narration and stuff for him. Uh, he actually said all this. Or what are some of the most fascinating things he told you, Samuel? Just what I read off.
So whatever you read is in the book.
Yeah.
What's not in the book is something very interesting. So this is why I encourage people to read the book before like so the what's not in the book is what he talked about the Sphinx. He talks about the fact that there are three chambers beneath the Sphinx. Once we are ready spiritually, they can be opened. Once they're opened, everything will be known. And this is one thing not written in the book. The other is that the Tibetans are from Mars originally. And in the book, it talks about where the blacks and the yellows came from, where the Caucasians came from, not exactly, but where the Polynesians came from, and also where the Hebrews came from. It actually explains logically and reasonably why Jewish people excel at everything they do. If you read the facts and statistics, Jewish people account only for about 0.2% of world population,
Mm-hmm.
but 22% of all the Nobel Prize winners are Jewish. And this book explains why that's the case and why the Hebrews were the chosen people, says in the Bible. I mean, like people, like, when I was reading the Bible, I was curious and I went to a Chinese church here in Los Angeles. So I asked them, like, why didn't God choose a Chinese person or the Chinese people? Why the Hebrews? Why not the blacks? Why not the Caucasians? Why not the Native Americans? Why the Hebrews? And then so the Chinese pastors in the church make up like explanations that are just not reasonable at all and didn't make a lot of sense. So people try to make up a lot of excuses and reasons, try to explain the things in the Bible, but this book explains everything perfectly and logically. It makes perfect sense. So this is what amazes me about this book, written by a landscaper in Australia, and who didn't really have a lot of education, and he wrote a book and published it before internet went to Australia.
Okay. Yeah, I see a lot of the topics here that you're covering. Parallel universe. I guess that parallel universe is right next to us. Is it? Does it exist right beside us, Samuel?
It exists in different locations on Earth, and they're actually just like ribbons floating in space or in the sky. So they move around. They don't just stay at one specific location. And I would suggest you to read the books written by David Paulides, the Missing 411 series of books, in which he documents the strange uh, cases of people who just gone vanished or who just gone missing in the national parks in the US and Canada under strange circumstances because there are portals or warps in different locations in space, including the Bermuda Triangle, where when like ships or planes get around that area, kind of the measurements or instruments cannot get malfunctioned. So it's a natural phenomenon. And once you get sucked into the parallel universe, time stops. And then, unless you know how to get out, you're forever stuck there. So there are a lot of things that people want to know and can explore a little bit further.
Yeah, I heard of that book 411, people disappearing, and also the Bermuda Triangle. You were talking about. Now, what happens when these people go into these portals and they, like you said, if they know how to get back out, they can, but usually they're trapped there forever, Samuel. I mean, how do you get back out if you go in? Just for some advice for people if they get sucked into one of these portals.
So once, like for example, you're if you're in the woods or if you're in a very kind of naturalistic scenic location, pay attention to the environment. When you see fogs or foggy environment or bluish color, be extremely careful and back out immediately. Back out immediately where you came from,
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't get sucked into the parallel universe. And once you're sucked in, be really careful because the parallel universe, like the portal, is gonna lift you up and then to take you to places according to the projections of the parallel universe or the portals. So if you try to get out at a later time, you might be in midair on Earth, so you might fall very dangerously, and then to death. So this is something you need to be really careful. Is that like the ETs know how to get out because they come in and get up Earth using parallel universe, the portals. But we as human beings, I don't think we are advanced enough to know that. So just whenever you see a change of environment, immediately back out where you originally came from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also in the book it mentions, you know, the knowledge of the sciences are lost here on Earth, and a lot of things that we haven't been told, like history is wrong. We hear that statement now all the time. People are saying that we don't know what true history is. They've lied to us all these thousands of years. Uh, what can we expect out of that? The sciences that are lost on Earth. Are we talking like ancient, not ancient cultures, but Tartarians? They were also here and then gone. They said that we don't know. And then some people say no, they existed. They're just good builders, good architects. Uh, are we confusing sometimes very intelligent human civilizations with extraterrestrial intervention, Samuel?
Yes, I think some people do confuse the two. When we had flourishing ancient civilizations, ETs did come and visit us from time to time because we were ready. We behaved civilized manner, and so that's why they had frequent contact with us. But I don't want people to be confused. There are the ETs who come and visit us, and there are also the people who came to Earth from different planets. Like the, we all came from different planets
Hmm.
because when the core of a planet cools down, it will no longer have the electromagnetic force to capture the atmosphere. So the planet will become like a desert without the atmosphere. Water will not be kept on the planet. So there will be no water anymore, at least above ground. So this is what Mars is a desert because the core has cooled down and Mars doesn't have atmosphere anymore. So people on Mars had to migrate to a different planet. So we all came from different planets originally. So this is one reason why I think the theory of evolution is probably incorrect when they when they try to explain where we came from. So and there are ETs who come and visit us, but they do not interfere with our affairs directly most of the time. And those who do interfere or did interfere, they interfere out of the the mission of leading us into having more spiritual knowledge, like Moses, like Jesus and Christ, like Enoch. So I think we have to distinguish the two.
Yeah, and I researching some of what you got into is there was a second Jesus, and there's more Jesus, and this is part of our unknown history. There were many Jesuses here on Earth. You said 1.3 million years back in past civilization. Some scientists say we've been here longer, or we've been here and we went through some kind of a reset or some kind of a chaotic event that destroyed the planet 6, 7 times, and we were here and gone those that many times. And do you think about that too? I mean, how long have we been here, and how many times has our civilization gone? Just like Mars, something destroyed it. What destroyed it, Samuel? And also, what happened to us? Like they said, 6 or 7 times and destroyed us. Like the flood, we know the flood of Noah's flood destroyed everything, but there's been other, destructive ends of the world, our world here many times before. A lot of scientists are saying it's, and the Earth is older than what we think, and the universe is older than what we think. And I know you said 1.3 million years old, but uh, what do you think about that? I mean, is Mars, how was it destroyed, and how was Earth chaotically stopped and then I guess you can say replanted again or reset again, Samuel?
So Mars had people live on it about 1.35 million years ago. But gradually, as astronomers agree, that the core of Mars cooled down because the planet got older. So when the planet got older, the core of the planet cools down, and then it will not have the electromagnetic force to capture the atmosphere. So the people on Mars knew about this. So they migrated to another planet. So there was life on Mars, but not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So people on Earth all came from different planets originally, like the blacks, the yellows, the Caucasians, the Hebrews, and Polynesians. And then, but there were two great resets on Earth. Two great resets. The first occurred 1.32 million years ago when an asteroid hit Earth and actually split into three parts. One of the parts hit was now today's Galapagos Islands. So if you go there, Ecuador, Galapagos Island, you're going to see the formation, like some people theorize or hypothesize, that the islands were formed due to an asteroid hitting there. Indeed, that's the case, confirmed by the book. It's actually detailed in the book what happened 1.32 million years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second great reset was about 14,500 years ago when the continent of Lemuria sunk into the ocean. So we had very flourishing civilizations and high technologies in the past, but because of the two great resets we had to start over again. So this is why you see the remnants of the ancient civilizations, such as the Great Pyramid of Egypt, the statues on Easter Island, but you don't know how they were built and by whom, because a lot of the knowledge was lost, except for some of the people in secret societies.
Right. I read something also in some of my research here that you said that ETs, extraterrestrials, have souls and they're spiritual. Uh, you mentioned hermaphrodite. That means two sexes. This book tells about meeting, I guess, ETs that had two sexes, or they're hermaphrodites. Samuel.
Yes, the ETs on Thiaoouba are the ones that took Michel to their planet. And the ETs from Thiaoouba are extremely beautiful looking people, Nordic looking, 9 or 10 foot tall, blonde hair, blue eyes, and they're very sexy looking, but they have both male and female sexual organs. They don't age, they don't die, they're forever happy, they can communicate through telepathy, they can heal all the diseases we can think of, they can manifest and materialize objects, they can also do a lot of other things, a lot of the things as documented in the Bible in which Christ did. So they're omnipotent beings and they have the knowledge to do all the things that they can do. So they're very good people. Michel didn't really want to come back after he was taken. He forgot all his families in Australia. And he was really sad after coming back because he wanted them to take him back there because it's just like a paradise for him. Everything was so perfect. He did not want to stay on Earth anymore. He was extremely cynical and somewhat depressed because everything compared to Thiaoouba is very inferior.
Yeah, I guess that's why they erase your memory a lot of times. Extraterrestrials, they erase your memory because they don't want you to think about their world. Or I don't know. They didn't erase this gentleman's, Desmarquet. They didn't erase his memory. He has fond memories of his visit, but there's a lot of people who's been abducted and parts of their memory is erased, or most all of it is erased. Getting to modern times, I wanted to ask you this. We're gonna start closing this up a little bit, but getting to modern times, what do you think about AI Atlas and these other objects that they say are coming this way? Is it all misinformation, disinformation, and do we actually have humans on Mars and traveling in space right now today, Samuel?
Three-Eye Atlas, I think, is a signal or a sign from the ETs that there are ETs out there. It's meant to wake people up, the people who rely on the mainstream media like the New York Times and CNN, that don't tend to want to think outside of the box. It really needs someone like Avi Loeb to wake those people up. And even Avi Loeb encountered a lot of jealousies from his peers and colleagues.
Yeah.
And so it's, people, when Christ came to us, he had to perform miracles in order for people to believe what he preached. It's like there are people like Mick West who just doesn't believe anything and who are skeptical. And there are a lot of people like that in China too, not just in the US or UK. It's the nature of human beings on Earth. We need proof, further proof, and all the proof that we can, and they still don't believe anything. I mean, Mick West is a typical example of someone who is a representative of Earth, who are just stubborn enough that I'm not going to talk about him anymore. It's just so Three-Eye Atlas is a very good way to wake some people up. Not people like Mick West, but some people up.
Okay.
And in terms of your second question, I think whenever a government agency or kind of a secret space project wants to set something up on Mars, it indicates their ignorance because Mars is a dead planet already.
Hmm.
It's not like the far side of the moon, in which it has specific purposes of kind of watching people on Earth, or maybe transferring some of their people or materials step by step as transfer stations. Mars is not really practical to have stations or bases there because it's already a dead planet. You have to make an atmosphere in order for people to live there and to survive there. So I think whoever tells you that there's a secret space station on Mars, I think whoever built it is ignorant or foolish. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't encourage that.
Yeah. Uh, why why is there an increase of UFO UAP sightings here on Earth now more than ever? I mean, I'm an older guy. I've never witnessed this many sightings that people are taking pictures of and film of. Why do you think they're coming out all over the Earth right now and things are going on? Are they trying to wake us up, Samuel, themselves, the ETs?
For this question, we can have another conversation after you read the book
Okay.
because it's going to be more than I think many people can take.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's. I can see all these topics you got covered in the book, and we haven't went over a lot of them, but we're coming to a close. What do you think's going to happen to us in the future, and what's going to happen to us in our disclosure and our awakening, Samuel?
I think it's important to realize we make the future ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We determine our future, even though certain events in the future are fixed. I compare our future is just like how students take their exams. The exams are already made, so the students can solve the answers correctly or incorrectly, and and they can pass the exam or fail the exam. It depends on how they respond to the questions on the exam.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the sense, future is not fixed for the most part. We determine how we respond and how create a better future. So this is why I've been working so hard as a lawyer to push and to spread the messages to as many people as possible and to wake people up. Because collectively we can create a better future through collective actions using nonviolent resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you realize who is controlling everything behind the scenes, you're going to realize there are just a small group of people who manipulate the financial institutions and the government bodies to create conflicts in the world and suppress technologies like clean energy, like what they did to Stanley Meyer, who invented a water vehicle, a vehicle that ran on water, using water as a clean energy source. So if we stop working for this group of people, uh, and we can, for each individual, we only lose hourly wage, but to the people who are controlling us, they're losing tremendous amount of money, humongous amount of money, because for each minute we stop working for them, they lose hundreds of millions of dollars or even more. So through nonviolent resistance, like what Gandhi did in India, we can really like work together against the tyrannies in the world effectively. And I think this is what I try to say to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be international. It has to involve people from other countries like China, Japan, or India.
Yeah. Your picture has frozen. Your audio has been coming through, but your picture is frozen with the camera. But since you got audio in your picture there, then that's fine. I was going to ask you about being a lawyer and how much that is helping you to, I guess, negotiate and navigate this whole process of disclosure and enlightenment. It has helped you, hasn't it, Samuel?
It definitely has helped quite a bit because people take my words a little bit more seriously
Mm-hmm.
than before. And I just want to thank a lot of people who helped me in the past in parsing the bar. and like one timers bar prep in California, and also I want to say that when you have challenges in life, look inside for answers. For the kingdom of God is within you, because you can connect to the source or the creator directly
Mhm.
without going through an agent or agency
Yes.
like the church or the pastors
Yes.
or the priests. Just through meditation, through prayers, you can find directions in your life. And the more challenging situations you have in your life, that means the more spiritual lessons you're going to learn, because you can learn more from a calculus problem than a algebra problem. Like if you just keep learning 1 + 1 = 2, you don't learn much. But if you're given a calculus problem, you can learn a lot. So the more challenging situations that you have or circumstances that you have, the more you can learn. So take the challenges in your life with a positive attitude, and you'll be glad.
I like your attitude. You're a very learned man. You cover a lot of topics, and you're doing this, and you're utilizing your talents. Your other talents, your investigative skills, your lawyer skills, and I can see it coming through with your work and some of the this book that you got here that you've been through, the Thiaoouba Prophecy, Abduction to the Ninth Planet, and the Golden Planet, Samuel Chong, and that's a book. I've got it. I've read some of it, and you caught me not reading all of it, but I read some of it. I understand the principles you're talking about, but I am going to read the rest of it. It's on my programs, on my documents, so it'll be read. I've just been busy, and an old guy being busy, that's tough. but I are you going to attend the IMEX meeting tonight? I thought maybe I'd ask you that.
Yeah, I probably will. It depends on. I have to. He sent me the PDF invitation in PDF format. I have to kind of copy that. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
probably will. Yes.
Yeah. All right. I want to thank you, Samuel Chong, for being on the show. Very interesting. Very interesting. I think I've heard you say some new things that I haven't heard before, but are very logical and very very much backed up by some of your research and the people that you work with, getting this book information and everything out there. I appreciate it, and you're doing a good job enlightening people. And everybody out there, thank you for being with a Strange Reality. Dave Emmons here, Samuel Chong. I appreciate having you. This has been a good moment for me on the show, and it's been a pleasure talking to you, Samuel.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you so much. And we're going to end the show with that. Good night, everybody, or good day, good morning, whatever time you read this program or see it or listen to it. We want to thank you. Samuel Chung, my guest, and good night, everybody.